Good day, everybody. It's another beautiful day in the world on the 25th of May. I hope you're well and that you're keeping well and that your heart is filled with hope. And if it's not, then I bring you a very special guest today, Merlene. It's so lovely to have you with us, Merlene. Merlene is a makeup artist and supervisor. She's worked on some Netflix productions like The Voice and Big Brother. And she's a dress designer. This is one of her dresses that she's designed, and the one that she's wearing today as well. So beautiful. I love that you wrote in the hem, wees mooi met jou, let me see if I can find it here. Kyk mooi na yourself, and that's Afrikaans for look after yourself. I just love that touch. She's a self-care advocate, and she's a deeply soulful spiritual gangster. And she's in recovery from heroin addiction over 15 years, which is incredible. She's a dear friend, a fellow light worker, a queen goddess sister. Welcome, Merlene, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Lee. It's always nice to share and connect with you because you always put me on the road, man. And
you and my paths crossed a couple of years ago, and it's been such a beautiful mirror for me of how both of us being in recovery and really seeing the bottom barrel of life and seeing the bottom barrel of ourselves. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, like what recovery meant for you, considering what you went through.
Recovery, the longer I am in recovery, the more I realize what a blessing recovery was for me. Because I think with the start of my recovery is when my side to the light started. And as they say, life is an art, and it means that an art needs to be practiced. And so do we need to practice certain things to have a fruitful life? So I am in a state of appreciation for my recovery. I barely remember or I barely hold on to the dark side of my addiction. And I'm using this momentum of recovery just to blossom and to evolve into having a beautiful life.
And a beautiful life you've created for yourself. I mean, just with I had, when I rebranded last year, one of your artists came and did my makeup. And I mean, I cannot tell you how many compliments I've heard from people that just say that the makeup's been done so beautifully. And I know what a heart you have for your employees. I know how it's not just women that rock up and do work for you and then go back home. You employ the whole person, not just their skills as a makeup artist. And for me, women in leadership, that's a very unique and beautiful stance to come from, in celebrating the whole of a human being and believing in the whole of a human being, maybe especially when they don't believe it in themselves. So that, I really love that about you. I love that that's such a big thing for you, for your employees.
It is the biggest thing for me. It's not what can you do. It's not only what you can do, it's also how you feel. Because I think it transcends and it sends major positive energy into your work. And that is what I believe in. A person, how's your thinking? How's your way of doing your things? How are you feeling? And it's very important for me that, I know that everything is an energy. So we are at work, we are in a professional environment, but because I'm so attracted to the person's soul and I believe in soul work, I believe in energy, I always go back to basics. It doesn't matter what a short time I spend with a person. I always believe that there's a reason somebody came into contact with me. And it's not always that I feel like I'm giving the person something. I feel the reciprocation of energy. So I would like everything that I'm involved in to be fruitful. And that's why I believe in the wholeness of a human being. Like I'm saying, even if we spend a short time together, I want to make sure that the person leaves better than what they have arrived.
And that, I mean, I can say definitely for the young lady that did my hair. I'm embarrassed that I can't remember her name, but just her. I mean, it makes so much sense to me now after having conversations with you then about somebody who's sitting and doing my makeup, helping me to feel my best self. But if her
Mm-hmm.
energy is negative, then that's gonna sit with me, and I'm not necessarily gonna feel my most beautiful. So her infusing that gentle energy of feeling beautiful transcends obviously makeup, because makeup is a beautiful thing um, that enhances our beauty. So yeah, I really love that about you. And then in the work that we've done, you started this beautiful wrap. You know, the way that I saw the image of when you first spoke to me, it's just come back to me. It's like these wings of an angel that your dress is, that it wraps around people. And I really do, when I feel like I've got to I need some power, like I need some sass and I need some power. Then I wrap me in this beautiful garment of love, and I really go out into the world in a powerful way. I know because my daughter absolutely loves this dress, and if she can't wait to be big so she can have one like me. And she's probably my fiercest critic. So, which is great because it's nice to know that one looks great and stuff, and other stuff not so. Um, but I love this dress, and I love the energy that this dress has come with, and the gift that you've brought it, that you gave to me. And yeah, I mean, I know it's a soul project for you. It was some. Tell us about it.
Remember, I just want to reiterate that I did come to you for coaching for this dress, and for that, I'm so grateful to you. We can have therapy about, I just want to reiterate that we can have therapy and coaching in all aspects of our lives. Like for me, life coaches rock. Lee, Joy, you rock. I mean, I came to you for coaching for this dress, and now we're actually sitting in these dresses, and it's such a 360 for the both of us,
Amazing.
you know. So the energy around these dresses is like I have mathematically structured my dresses in the golden ratio. So it means the dress is made perfectly, but the body doesn't have to be. It can be any size. It can be any You can be any size, and this dress will literally look good on you. I have got such fascinating story about this dress because I really put my good vibes and good energy, and I actually pray over my dresses. It's really something that I really think through. Like the other day, a lady was texting me and she said, I think it's time for a long sleeve one because she had purchased a short sleeve one. And then she said, I'm not feeling that great because my daughter is in hospital. So I just need one of your dresses. And I said, sure, I'll deliver it for you today. I asked her where she is for the day, and she's like, please deliver my dress to the hospital.
Amazing.
So it's just giving me that push and that inspiration to say, go forth and do your rap dress business. So I'm having it's not just about business, but it's also about human connection. And that is what I want to have in all my careers. Because obviously I have more than one career. It's the human connection. And I am so, so, so happy that it's actually manifesting into these beautiful stories. And I'm so happy that I actually came to you with the idea. You told me, do not procrastinate another day, go forth and make it happen.
I'm pushy that way. Hey.
Yes, and I also like, I mean, we covered so much just in that session because it was about the dress, but I went back to listen, Lee, I didn't create the wrap dress. Somebody else created the wrap dress, but this is my style of wrap dress. You took it way back with me, but way back with me. We took it right from the beginning, and we got to the end result of no procrastination, reach for your dream, make this dress, that dress, and look at us now.
Yeah, just so beautiful. I mean, it's for me. Uh, uh, when someone's on purpose, it is an electrifying experience for me, and I get goosebumps, and it gets so, like, I can see the flow, and to see the evolution of you as a soul being, and how you've expressed yourself in the world, and how this dress has come to really embrace people, because that's what a wrap dress does, it embraces us, right, is so on point with what we're needing in this world with regards to self-love, right? Like how do we love ourselves? And the first way that we do that is possibly by what we wear and how we clothe ourselves. And it's like an inside out job or an outside in job. Like sometimes I'll be feeling meh, and then I like put on the dress, and then I'm like, yeah, baby, you got this. And sometimes I'm feeling really like glam, and whatever, I put the dress on, I'm like, you got this. So speak to us about your journey around self-love, and how why is that important for you?
Self-love, when I started my recovery, it was like an eye-opening for me. When you're in your recovery, you want to say what took you to drugs, and what makes you fall off the wagon, and what makes you go back to it. And then I realized it's never about them. It's never about the outside things that's happening. It's always about yourself. I started taking self-responsibility. Self-responsibility. Wow, what an eye-opener. So everything was about what can I do? What was my involvement? And what can I do to make things better? A lot of people think that taking care of yourself is just about what you do. Self-care is sometimes about the things that you shouldn't do. So self-care for me is, if you know better, you do better. What works for me? What doesn't work for me? Do more of the things that work for me. Do less of the things that do not work for me. I mean, we're human. So there's still things that we're doing that we're not supposed to do. So it's just about getting the balance right. So self-care for me is doing what works, more of that, less of what doesn't work for me, what doesn't add value to my life. That's what self-care means.
And who we surround ourselves with, right? How what is our influence? And I think that's what made you such a powerful businesswoman, is looking at how you infuse your employees' lives, but also what they bring to the world. So, and who you surround yourself determines what frequency we put out in the world, because we're radiators as much as what we're sponges, or we deflect as much as what we reflect. I'm trying to think of the word. A sponge is probably the right word, but it's often seen as a negative. Absorb. We absorb energy as much as what we reflect energy, and surrounding ourselves with, and I guess surrounding ourselves within ourselves, right? Like that critical self-talk. If that internal dialogue is negative, and it might be negative to start, and we leave it as negative, it's very destructive. But if we're self-loving, and the neighbor that we hold to ourselves is loving and self-compassionate, especially in the negativity, it's very transformative in our lives, because it helps us to be able to take responsibility and become intentional about what we do.
Yes, I had to learn the art of living, the practice of good thoughts, good habits. And then eventually, like in the beginning, it feels like hard work. Oh my gosh, it's action, 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 action. And it is so exhausting. Sometimes you don't even want to share it, because you're like, I want people to recover, but I don't want them to feel like it's such hard work, because it's every morning, every night. My water is here, my to-do list is here, I'm going there. What happens to us eventually is we start aligning. The more stillness you have, the more you can create your life, the more you can align with, the more you can attract whoever needs to be next to you is next to you. Whatever you need to do, come to you when you're meditating, and things just become much more easy. Less work, more silence, more alignment, more attraction, more deliberate living, and all that, those hard exercises just become so much easier.
I totally agree. I'm seeing now going through the divorce, obviously living on my own most of the time. My daughter's 1 week on, 1 week off. And at first, the silence was really deafening. Like I wasn't used to so much silence. Now I love it. Like I can sit. So, like I was up till 2 this morning, just really downloading stuff because I was sitting with myself and just really. And the silence isn't so deafening anymore. It's something like I really embrace it. I really love it. Tell me,
Mm.
we were speaking about you being a spiritual gangster. What does that mean for you?
It means that somebody left me a comment the other day and they said, I love how you can be so hard and you can be so soft. I really genuinely want to encourage people to feed the duality of their authenticness. There's certain things that I push hard in, and then there is certain things that I'm really soft and gentle with. So even in my spirituality, I can preach rest, you know. I love resting, I love quiet time. And then there are things that I'm just aggressive with and I go at it. So spiritual gangster is that I really give my duality attention.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I mean, if we look at recovery, right, and the experience of darkness that we both went through, as do many people in and out of recovery. I mean, the experience of darkness is not just reserved for people in drug addiction, or alcohol, any kind of addiction. I think people in general have moments of darkness. I've been in recovery 14 years now, and I really see how addicts have become the light workers of the world. And this time of COVID, I went to 12-step meetings online when there was lockdown, and then back face to face as soon as I could because I missed hugs. I'm a hug monster. I need hugs. And I really saw how the conversations that people were having in 12-step meetings, and people who didn't have the gift of 12-step meetings were speaking very differently about COVID and the impact that it was having on our lives. And the people that were drug addicts and alcoholics and in the 12-step fellowships were reminded of how dark their rock bottoms were, and what we were going through was nowhere near the torment of their rock bottom. And so I literally saw in front of me these light workers and how they were going into the world and bringing hope and encouraging people to not give up hope. And I mean, you and I had a couple of conversations through lockdown as well, and you were the same. You were exactly the same. You were like, we're gonna rock this. We're gonna use this time as a time to elevate. We're gonna retract. We're gonna regroup. We're gonna reset. We're gonna regrow, and then we're gonna go out there and push. And I acknowledge that that life didn't offer you the greatest experiences sometimes, but the strength and the gangsterness of your spirit is bewildering, is so exquisite, and you traversed some really dark times to come out as this light worker. And I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of you that you chose this journey. You chose to come to Earth at this time, and you've overcome some really tough times with grace, and sometimes you tumbled and fall and it wasn't so graceful, but in itself, in the whole journey, it's been grace. It's been filled with grace. So, I'm just really proud of you.
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. I think the reason why everything, most of it went so graceful is because when I fall, I try to fall forward.
Beautiful.
That's really what I try to do. I really try to fall forward. I really try to see the lesson in everything. I really try and believe that my the promise, the promise that I made with myself, that where whenever I'm falling, it's just me on my journey, and it needs some things in the way to push me forward, because most of the time when we have all these bad things happening to us, it gives us an idea of the good things that we want. Every time there is contrast, it gives us that push for, okay, this is what I don't want, but this is what I want. So I've learned that, I understand that, I've accepted it, so I'm using it. I use all my contrast to push me into the direction where I need to go. Then, after the pain has subsided a bit, I realized, hmm, this is the promise that I made myself. And I just forgot what my promise was. That's why I was in the bullshit. That's why I chose wrong. I was choosing out of trauma. I was leaning towards my down, my dark side. And then I become grateful for the lesson. And then I'm on my way to the promised land.
Dancing in the
Yeah,
sun, baby, dancing in the
really
moonlight.
is. Yeah, it takes process, and being how I am, knowing what I know, doesn't mean that I don't have heartbreak. There's a lot of heartbreak, but I sit in the stillness when I have my heartbreak. And as they say, the only way to the other side is to go through it. So that's when my self care is on point. My self care is always on point, but that's when I pay attention to myself.
That's
That's when I
beautiful.
mother myself. That's when I nurture myself. That's when I have um, self compassion. Because those are, we always think that we need to have compassion for other people, but like self compassion, looking at the lesson over, beautiful self talk, lot of rest, and just a lot of appreciation for every single second that I'm actually staying alive.
I love that, because in the game of being a self-care coach, a lot of people, and me included, in time gone past, and sometimes I find myself in the same trap, but when life becomes difficult, they've got a bigger project at work, or they're going through a divorce, or life becomes challenging, they often put their self-care on the back burner. And actually, that's why people burn out, and why their projects aren't as successful as they were hoping, and
Mm.
why they're going through whatever breakup is more traumatic than what it needs to be. So I love that you said that we need to ramp up our self-care when we're going through difficult times. We've got to have great self-care regimes and
Mm.
practices in place, but when we're going through a tough time, we need to ramp it up even more. So, and I've
Yeah.
seen now that, I mean, a friend of mine talks about we got to eat our own dog food. So, like what I preach, I've got to live, and I know that if I can't take people through and to things that I haven't gone to and through myself. So I can definitely see how this practice of self-care and and offering more and more of that nurturing to myself has helped me really traverse some tricky experiences now in the last, say, year. So that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And then before we go, Merlene, where's Merlene in a year from now? What is your vision for your year ahead?
My year ahead is what I've done now that is very good for me. I started using my voice for myself. I use my voice for myself. So even when I'm in a business situation, I will be saying things like, I don't have the mental capacity for that conversation right now. I will work on it, and then we can set a date and time that's good for you, and then we can speak about it. But I just want to think about it. So a year from now, my top priority is my mental health. A year from now, I want to be on the level where I'm working on my mental wealth. Everything else will be where it needs to be.
I love
I
that.
trust my alignment. I trust my alignment. I do the small things so that the big things can fall into place.
I love that. I've never heard that, mental health to become mental wealth. Because if I think about recovery, we always say that we got to look at our recovery, going to meetings, having a sponsor, doing the step. So depositing like a bank account into our lives so that when things are difficult, we've got something to rely on. So if I take that same analogy and I look at mental health as opposed to mental wealth, or the journey from mental health to mental wealth is about depositing healthy practices into our lives so that we build a wealth of mental strength. I love that.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Love that. Love that. Love that. Oh my God, I could speak to you all day. You know that my heart loves you so much. And you've supported my business in such a powerful way. You've sent me so many beautiful, beautiful clients. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for offering me the opportunity to hold space for people to really connect with their own truth. Yeah. And for believing in my journey and journeying on this road as sisters, because I see you shining and I'm like, that's my girl. So I'm very, very proud of you, and thank you for coming on today.
I'm so grateful for you holding my hand, because a lot of people like me, we have to do self, alone, 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 alone. But I am starting to not just take pictures with myself in selfies. I'm starting to broaden my village, and I actually have so many people that holding my hand in different areas of my life. And when it comes to my mental health, you are the person that's holding my hand. And for that, I'm so grateful, because you know what? That is my biggest asset. That
Yeah,
is
for
like
sure.
the thing for me. So I'm so grateful for that, for what you've done for me in that area.
Such a pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for joining us today. To the listeners and viewers, I hope you had a beautiful day. If you'd like to subscribe, like, comment, it's always lovely to hear what you have to say. And this is we're tapping into each other's genius. So sharing is caring with regards to your comments. And if there's any other topics that you'd like me to bring up, please feel free to do so. I wish you all a magical day, and God bless you all. Thanks, Merlene.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.